There are countless jigs in woodworking, and I've probably made them all, but the king of those jigs is definitely the crosscut sled. And I've dedicated a lot of energy over the last 10 years educating people on how to make them, how to avoid the common pitfalls that come with making them. We've created products around it that solved big frustrations I had, like the no deflection stop block, or the jig square, which squares a crosscut sled real quickly in under 2 minutes. But there has been one problem that has eluded me that entire time, and that is the miter rail. As woodworkers, we rely on our jigs for accuracy. We make them for all sorts of things. And typically they're done with wood runners. These are the wood runners we sell with our crosscut sled kit. People use hardwood to make them, but the problem is in the summer they swell and in the winter they shrink. And I've taught all kinds of techniques on how to mitigate that, like blue tape or veneer on your runners. I get customer service emails about this quite a bit. And I think where people really get frustrated and stuck is that 5-cut method, right? It's the gold standard for dialing in a crosscut sled, and you've all seen your favorite YouTuber get to 0.00001 and say, oh, it's so square. But people do the test and they won't even change anything and they're getting different readings. And that's usually due to just a little bit of slop in the runners. It could be the fence as well. You know, I'll link a video I did down below where I go over kind of all the common mistakes and how to mitigate them. But anything under 0.02 on that calculator on a 24-inch fence, that's super, super square. So with all these frustrations, I wanted to solve this. And after 3 years of prototypes, I think I finally have. So let me show you what we built. Hey, really quick while I have you, Shopify recognizes this as one of their fastest growing brands last year, and they reached out and they want to throw us a party May 16th in Venice Beach, California at a place called The Lighthouse. There's an RSVP link down below. We're going to be launching a brand new product as well that'll be just at the pop-up. Laura Kampf will be there and a bunch of other awesome content creators. I'm going to be doing demos of the jig rail, which you'll be able to get your hands on, and lots of our other products. There's going to be a really cool Tim the Toolman Taylor set. It's going to be an awesome party. I'd love to have you. Please RSVP. There'll be door prizes, the whole thing that we do at parties. So hope to see you there. Back to the video. This is the patent pending Katz-Moses Miter Rail. It's a bearing guided expandable aluminum miter rail that comes in 20 and 8-inch sizes, so you can build any jig or sled your heart desires. It uses 2 set screws, one to expand and one to lock it in, and that means you're going to get a perfectly consistent 0 slop fit every time. No wood movement, no seasonal expansion, no blue tape, just perfect fit every time. And you only need 1 runner because 2 runners is to take out some of that variance that you get front to back with wood, but with this, you're getting a perfect fit every time. And those bearings make it like an ice skate. And here's where some of that hardware gets really interesting. We custom designed some hardware. I call them thumbtacks. They're basically tiny little pins that stick out the back. They have threads in the middle that screw it into the miter rail. You don't have to take them out, but what they allow you to do is when you expand your rail in the slot and get it perfect with no slop, you can take whatever jig you're using, your sled base or your straight line rip jig, push it right down on the top and it's stuck in there. Previously, you would have used super glue with a runner, but these are stuck right in there. You take it out, drill your holes, shoot your screws, and you're done. The whole install takes less than a couple minutes. But I think what's really cool about that is it allows you to register it perfectly. That means you can take it off. You can switch it between jigs. You could, you know, repair your sled or do some maintenance to it, take this off, but when you put it back, you're gonna have 6 tiny little perfect holes that allow you to put it back in the exact same spot. That's not something you could ever do with wood runners. Additionally, we added 1/4 bolt holes in here, which is the common hardware that we all use to make jigs. So you could thread bolts, put on handles, knobs, you could make a mount for your dial indicators, all sorts of cool things that you could do with those 1/4 holes. But what can you make with this? With the 8-inch, you can make a box joint jig, you can make a small part sled, you can even make a miter gauge using that 1/4 bolt hole and put a handle on it. I mean, most of them that come with table saws are such trash anyways. 20-inch, obviously the sky's the limit here, crosscut sled, bridle joint jig, straight line rip jig, tapering jig. It's really one rail, one system. You can make anything your little heart desires. And if you pair it with our crosscut sled kit and our jig square, you're making an accurate crosscut sled in under 10 minutes. Now, to be fair, let's talk about what else is out there. There is absolutely nothing that rides on bearings, and there's only a couple that are actually expandable. You can buy really cheap HDPE runners, which are exactly one size, and so good luck if that fits your table saw. I'm guessing it won't. You can buy these really cheap ones that have this very hard rubber or nylon washer on it. You got a crank on it. If you do get it to touch both sides, this is going to make pushing it forward and backwards. Very, very difficult to do. Micro Jig has a pretty good solution called the zero play miter bar, but it is really difficult to put together. I built a sled with it earlier, which we're gonna show you in a second, but this is the instructions, and there's a whole template. You need to drill 6 holes from the top of your sled and then adjust it using these Allen keys, and it's a wedge system. So when it touches both sides, there's a lot of friction, which I'll show you here in a minute. And then this is the Woodpeckers one, which weighs, it's a murder weapon. It's 5 pounds or so. And one of the things that I found really peculiar about this is they don't give you the hardware. And there's 6 1032 holes. So you need to use 1032 button head cap screws. You need to drill the holes from the top. And both of these, you have to be really accurate or you're gonna have a really tough time. You mess it up, you gotta start over. And it took me about an hour to build each sled with these. So let's show you the sleds I built with these 2, and let's look at the force it takes to push them and pull them back. All right, so let's go ahead and make some sleds. And to make everything equal, we're gonna build the exact same sled. The runner will be the exact same distance from the fence, and we're gonna be using our crosscut sled fence kit, which is really cool. When I created the jig square, I had to build hundreds of crosscut sleds, and I needed to find a way to make them quickly. So I came up with this fence system where each screw goes in from a different side, which helps alleviate any weird forces in your plywood, helps it be super ultra square. And then after you glue it up and shoot the screws, just clamp it to something you know is flat, like your table saw, your workbench, or your jointer. And it's gonna come out and be so square, straight, and parallel that it's gonna be perfect for a crosscut sled. I started with the Micro Jig, which came with really great instructions, has a template for drilling the holes, but it's kind of a process. You have to drill 3/4 inch through holes, and then 1/2 inch countersunk holes, and then 1/4 inch through holes. It took me, I don't know, 45 minutes to an hour to build that one and the Woodpeckers one. The Woodpeckers does not come with hardware, so I had to go randomly steal 1032 screws from my shopmate Bill, and we're gonna have to pay him back. You gotta lay things out, get it accurate, and countersink and drill 6 through holes. So it was also a process about 45 minutes to an hour to build that sled. And I wanna take you through how to build a sled with this, because you're gonna see, once your fence is glued up, this is 10 minutes or less. Now, to get started, there's 2 important things you need to do before you get going. One is you need to back off the set screw. It ships locked down. So the way this works is you expand away from you, and then this screw locks it down. So you need to back off the screw that's in the front or the one that's away from you. And I just like to back it off all the way. The way you know it's the correct way is it's going to expand away from you. So you would be standing on this side and it's going to expand out that way. And you use this screw to expand it. And then when it gets fully locked into your miter slot, you're going to lock it back down with the set screw. All right, now when you put it in your slot, you want it to be slightly proud because you want to get all of those pins. So I'm using 3/4 inch washers. And the other important thing is they need to be in between the pins. So I just set my miter rail next to the miter slot, and I stack those washers up right in between the pins, using it as a visual reference. With those bearings underneath, you're gonna go ahead and expand it. Now this is the most expanding rail on the market. It goes from 0.69 to 0.837 inches. So it'll fit just about any table saw, from your contractor saw to those big giant ones with the big T-slot, miter slots. The only thing it won't fit is if you have those little tabs in between, like some inexpensive table saws. But go until that is tight, and then you're gonna move up top and lock it down. Just like that. Ensure that it moves freely still, and you're ready to put your base on. All right, so I wanted to show you in a way that you could see it, because obviously this gets buried by the camera when we try and do a full-size sled. But you're gonna set your base down on top of your pins, and you're gonna press your hand down on each set of pins. So 3 for the 20-inch or 2 for the 8-inch. And you're just gonna press right over those pins. It's real easy. Just press down like that. And then you don't wanna lift up because just the pins are holding it, so you just wanna slide it out like this. And there you go. Your rail is perfectly attached, and it's time to drill some holes. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and put our base on. I like to use my fence to just kind of get it pretty close to parallel. I like my rail about, I don't know, 1/2 inch in. And the only thing you need to know about these is the whole rail has to be encapsulated. So if you're using the 20-inch, your jig has to be bigger than 20-inch. If you're using the 8-inch, it has to be bigger than 8-inch. We just set it down, just like before. We just press it down. And there we go, slide it out. And just like that, we're ready to shoot our screws. Comes with necessary hardware, and we're gonna go ahead and you can either center punch it or use a Vicks bit and just drill a little hole. Just make sure you don't drill through your sled. And then before I put my fences on, I like to just mark where my blade's gonna come through so I don't accidentally put some hardware there. All right, now it's time to attach our back fence. If you're doing the 5-cut method, you're gonna put a screw over here, that's your pivot screw, and then one over here, and you're gonna go ahead and raise your blade up and cut through. I'm gonna be using the jig square, so we're gonna be just raising our blade up a little bit, squaring it with the fence. Couple things here, I like to cheat my fence over to the right because I was cut on the right side of my blade, so I rarely use the left side of my fence. I want more reference area over here. I put it about 1 inch to 7/8 of an inch in front of this back edge. And because I'm doing the jig square, I'm gonna go ahead and just mark as far as I need my blade to come, which is just about like right here. And there we go, we should have a perfectly square sled. That gets me every time, I'm just nailing that. And look at this. But you don't have to take my word for it. We have a force sensor, we're gonna test all these sleds we just built. The proof is in the pudding, as they say, and I am going to prove it to you that this is amazing. We're gonna test 4 sleds, one with 2 wood runners. We're gonna test one with the Micro Jig, 1 runner, Woodpeckers, 1 runner, and our new Miter Rail with 1 runner. We have a dial indicator here to make sure there's no side-to-side movement, no cheating, and then we're gonna push right behind the rail, which is where you would normally have your hand. So let's get to testing. We're gonna start with wood runners. All right, so our sled kit runners, the one that we sell on our website, came out at 8.9 force-pounds. The Woodpeckers, which uses the nylon leaf springs, came out at 10.96 force-pounds, so about 2 pounds more than wood runners. All right, the Micro Jig, which uses a wedge system, was 32.21. I ran this test a couple times. The problem is if you move your sled at all when you're taking it out, it comes out of parallel, it slips. So I would say this is not a 1-runner system. I wanted to give it a fair shot as a 1-runner system, but if you're gonna use this, you definitely have to have 2, and I think that it struggles to stay in place with any side-to-side force, but 32.21 force-pounds. Let's test ours. 3.4 force-pounds. That's insane. Like you could, whoops, you can just throw it right off your table saw. What's crazy about that is like 1/3 of the next closest one, which was wood runners. Like that's insane. It's like an ice skate. So the one question I always get when I post about this is, what about dust? We've been using these in our production sleds for 1.5 years. I never clean them. There's no problems. It doesn't get in there. The bearings are obviously enclosed, so it's not an issue whatsoever. If you ever needed to clean it off, you could pull it out and use those pins to put it right back where it was. But that is simply incredible. There are very few things in my job that give me as much joy as getting a product to market. This was a hard one. It took us 3 years. We went through 11 factories and over 75 production samples. In fact, even at one point I ordered 50 to test to see if the factory could do it. Spoiler, they could not. But we are here, it is for sale today. I have batch 1 in my shop today, so they will be shipping now. Please give us some few weeks because a lot of people are going to order sled kits. We're producing as many as we can, but it takes a little time to get them out. Batch 2 is already in production. We've been working on our pre-sale system, so on the product description page, you will see progress bars. It has the amount of people who are left in each batch, so when you purchase, you'll know exactly where you are in line if you don't make the first batch, and we'll get them to you as soon as we can. So, guys, thank you so much for supporting this business. You have made incredible things for the incredible people here at KM Tools, and I am so proud to provide those jobs and create products for you that I believe in and I use in my own shop every day. So thank you so much for shopping with us, and I appreciate you. Stay safe in the shop. Have a wonderful day.